So in this particular video, we want to talk about the overload power play system, which is one of the ones that we're going to work on. We're going to end up with 3 different power plays, hopefully by the end of the year. We'll have the overload, we'll have the umbrella, and we'll have the 1-3-1. And some of you might have played a 2-1-2 before, but it's not one that I particularly like because I don't think it puts enough people in position to score. So we're going to work on these other 3 at the beginning of the year. This particular power play is intended to move the defense. And so what we're going to want to do is move that puck around the outside, especially from corner to corner. And if we can hit a skip pass and then take a shot, we're going to try to do that. The fundamental of this particular overload is that you have some skilled players who are capable of handling the puck and moving the puck and getting the defense out of position so they can take advantage of seams. What I've got on here is the ultimate goal of how you would set it up, where you have a lefty set up in these 2 sides, or these 2 positions, because if puck comes this way, they can take a one-timer. On this other side, it'd be better to have right-handed shooters. So again, if the puck's coming this way, they're just taking a one-timer straight in. This particular player in F1 can be either right-handed or left-handed, and we'll show a couple of plays that work to take advantage of either handedness. So a couple of fundamental plays that I just want to talk about. The whole idea here is if the defense is set up in a really good box, what they're going to try to do is force the play to move around the outside. And we'll, as an offensive team, you take advantage of what the defense gives you. And so we'll move that puck. But if we can move this across and then get these guys to cheat a little bit, especially if he stays on that F3, so this guy's occupied in front of the net. If this defenseman starts sliding over a little too far, it opens up a seam for the players to aggressively move. Same thing if it comes over here, this guy can move in and hit him on that pass. So a couple of strategies that we're going to try to do in this particular setup. I'm going to remove the defense just to make it a little bit clearer. We'll want to move that play here, and if the D is sliding, then he'll move across and we can try to hit him. Ultimately, if the D's start moving and reacting to the puck, you can try to hit a skip pass. Ultimately, this guy is the most dangerous person on the whole ice, but most teams are going to occupy that person with a defenseman at all times. So they really, unless there's a breakdown, this F3's job is to occupy a defenseman and then crash rebounds like crazy and try to bang one home. So a couple of plays. We're going to try to move the puck around here. And then if the defense slides, F2 comes over and we move them like this. So in this case, let me draw a diagram. We send a pass from F2 to F1. F2 slides out, heads over to the front of the net like this. And then F1 hits him right back with a pass, with the idea that then that's a high quality passing opportunity, scoring opportunity in front of the net. Another important play that we want to try on this umbrella is this low cycle, which can be run 2 different ways. If F1 starts carrying the puck up in this direction, F2 can cycle behind him. And then as F1 moves up, especially if they pull the D over to them, you throw the puck back into the open area and they slide over. This is why it's helpful sometimes to have a lefty, because they can open up, protect a shot across, shot to the net from the D who'll be sliding over aggressively from F3. So in this case, if the player is a righty, when they slide over, the puck's going to be on the forehand side, but then the defenseman will be sliding over. It can work. But if they can open up with the Mohawk and then put that shot in, often that works really well. So that's play number 1, which is a cycle from behind. Another good play is for F1 to do a board cycle with F2. So F1 and we'll move this particular direction with the puck. F2 will slide below them and then drop that puck down along the boards and then again aggressively slide out. So you can do a cycle in the traditional way through the middle of the ice, or you can do what looks like a scissor play. On the scissor play, works really well on the umbrella. Puck goes to F2, and now they're going to exchange. He'll aggressively slide out in this direction. D1 will then slide in behind him, get a pass back, and if the D breakdown, F1 can slide in, or F2 can continue in a high slot and look to create these 2-on-1 isolations against these defensemen that are getting confused. So in all these cases, what we're doing with our puck movement is trying to make the defense slide overly aggressively and break their structure so that seams open up. Another play that often works is if F2 exchanges with F1, or sorry, with D1, and the D slides down here, this D2 can slide into the high slot, and you can find that seam pass in here as the defensive structure breaks down, especially if F1 looks to be a threat. The defense will guard against that, and it'll open up a seam into the middle. So that's the basic function of the overload, which is to move the puck around the outside, cycle on the low, cycle on the high, and then look to hit these seam passes across, hopefully to F3, but definitely to D2. And then we want to have F1, D1, and F2 sliding aggressively into the open area. A lot of one-timers, a lot of one-touch passes between F1 and F2. So you pass to F1 from this direction. We're going to make that pass. We're going to slide aggressively across and expect to pass back. So a lot of isolation 2-on-1 kind of plays can develop within the overload.